Straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, how are you? Hope you've had a great weekend. And here's wishing a sporty week ahead. I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Now, what a power-packed start to the week it's been for India's athletes in various disciplines at the Asian Games. Sunday was eventful, yes, but today has seen quite the flurry of medals. And with the medals come some stirring stories of sacrifices made and scripts rewritten. We here at Firstpost look to tell and retell some stories that do not quite catch the bulletins. So what's lined up for you today? Let's take a look. Indian men's cricket team rout Australia in Indore and take an unassailable 2-0 lead. The S's shine with the bat, but we will look at the S's that closed out the win. Is spin going to be India's key weapon come the World Cup? Also joining us a special guest who witnessed the match firsthand to give us his analysis of the win. The Indian women's cricket team make history in Hangzhou. The ladies clinch cricket's first gold for India, beating a feisty Sri Lankan side in the final. What does this mean for the girls? Today we shine a light on some of the youngest members of the squad. And we continue to follow the Asian Games. Some of the top results from the weekend and the first day of the week. What a gold rush it's been. We bring you up to speed with India's medal count and what makes some of the podium finishes special. Stay here for that heart-warming story. And that and more coming your way, but here's what's making the headlines from around the world in Sports 360. India's Asian Games campaign kicked off in style. Some greats and some near misses. What's certain is the achievements trumped the losses. India brought home its first gold in shooting and created a new world record. And the women's cricket team clinched a historic gold. We'll tell you about that and more. Staying with racing, MotoGP, the world's premier motorcycle racing championship, made its India debut. VR46 Racing's Marco Bezzecchi won the race on his Ducati. The 24-year-old Italian won the 21-lap inaugural Indian Grand Prix in 36 minutes and 59 seconds. He bagged 25 points in front of approximately 59,000 fans who had turned up despite the heat. Over in Formula One and staying with racing, Max Verstappen has helped Red Bull clinch the Formula One Constructors' Championship title. He also moved towards his third straight driver's title by winning the Japanese Grand Prix on Sunday. Verstappen finished ahead of McLaren pair Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who completed the podium. Verstappen could lift this year's Formula One title at next month's Qatar Grand Prix. In football, Megan Rapinoe played her final match with the US women's national team. She took her bow as USA beat South Africa 2-0 in a football friendly on Sunday. 38-year-old Rapinoe is an Olympic champion and two-time World Cup winner. She was also part of USA's Football World Cup, wherein the team exited in the round of 16. It was their earliest elimination from the tournament. And in tennis, Team World successfully defended its Laver Cup title. Americans Ben Shelton and Francis Tiafoe beat Hubert Hurkacz and Andrei Rublev to help Team World hit the 13-point mark needed to defeat Team Europe. Team World won last year's tournament, which also marked the end of Swiss star Roger Federer's last professional appearance before retiring. All right, let's start with cricket and men's cricket at home here in India, where the hosts have taken an unassailable 2-0 lead over Australia with a resounding win over the visitors in Indore. The batting clearly set up the win, with the three S's dominating the attack, the top, middle and lower order all firing. The S at the top, Shubman Gill, showed just why he has been one of the most prolific opening bats, skillful and yet no funky shots there. Giving him company was the other S, Shreyas Iyer, announcing his comeback in style. That beautifully scripted 100 would surely help the think tank breathe a sigh of relief. In fact, as Shreyas even shared after the game, the months of recovery were very lonely and he kept working hard to get back to playing and being a part of that Indian dressing room once again.
Yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster ride. I would like to thank myself, to be honest, to be believing at that point of time on my abilities and also my mindset. and I was feeling a bit lonely at that point of time, but thanks to my physios, my trainers, and my family to back me at that point of time, and I'm grateful to have them around. So all these people being around me and lifting my spirits high, that motivated me to stay positive and optimistic at the same time. So I'm thankful and I'm grateful at the same time.
Yeah, and we hope that momentum continues. But then came in the other S, who has had a quiet last few months, but definitely set the Indore skies alight. Suryakumar Yadav was exceptionally brilliant with his fiery contribution of 72 of 37 and reiterated once again just why he is key to the lower order assault. 400 runs was indeed too much. But on Decode today, we are not delving deep into the S's that did it with the bat, but the S's that closed out the win for us. Is spin going to be the key mantra for India at the World Cup this year? Now, let's first look at why spin is important. Now, in the two ICC tournaments that India has won in the 50-over format, spin has been key. Let's talk about the ICC ODI World Cup in 2011. Now, these are the top wicket takers. Shahid Afridi there with 21 wickets. Now, a leg spinner. He was the top wicket taker in the tournament, followed by India's top wicket taker, Zaheer Khan. But India's second highest wicket taker was Yuvraj Singh with 15 wickets. And he was extremely potent with the ball, and we know how critical he was with the bat as well. An asset in these conditions. Alongside Muttiah Muralidharan there, again another big name, Robin Peterson, all 15 wickets, rounding off the top 6 bowlers. The second tournament, ICC Champions Trophy in 2013. India were champions, beating England in the final. The top wicket taker in that tournament was Ravindra Jadeja. But 12 wickets there at a stunning average of 12.8. Ashwin was the second highest wicket taker with 8 wickets. And with the way Ashwin has announced his comeback in the series, we are beginning to wonder if he's made this case for his inclusion in the World Cup squad. Axar Patel is still recovering. In other words, there is no update on the status of his injury yet. Ashwin alongside Kuldeep and Ravindra Jadeja could prove to be a massive threat to any opposition. Now let's just set it up for you then, shall we? Kuldeep has been extremely frugal yet clinical in his ODI exploits as of just the last 1 year. About 31 wickets at an average of 18.6. That's immense. And he will be ready to take that momentum forward. Second on the list, Ravindra Jadeja has always been a wily customer. He's always been efficient in giving India the breakthroughs. Again, this is his figures as of the last 1 year in 1 days alone. Just the 12 wickets in 11 matches, but he's key with the bat as well lower down the order. That is incredibly important. And in tandem with him has been R. Ashwin, our third person in focus. No ODI records to show for him as of the last year, but except this particular series so far, where he was dangerous on a wicket, which is what Indore proved to be. In just a couple of matches here in this series, he's taken 4 wickets at a great average of 22. So in our My Cup segment, joining me to talk more about this is former India cricketer, someone who has also been part of IPL franchises. And now, apart from playing and coaching, he's taken up the role as a commentator too. He's at Rajkot currently, ahead of the third one-dayer. Thank you so much for joining us on Firstpost, Abhishek Nayar.
Thank you, Rupha. Thank you for having me.
Now, firstly, of course, we hope you kind of got some sleep, Abhishek, because I know it's been quite an intense series so far with the travel as well.
Yeah, it has been actually. I managed to get some sleep now that I'm in Rajkot. Early morning flight, ATR into Rajkot, an hour drive from there to the hotel. So we're as tired as the players are. Even though we're just talking, it's still very tiring.
No, I can imagine it to be tiring, but ringside view of the carnage, especially when India batted, how was that like?
Well, it was terrific, to be honest, because initially when we looked at the pitch, it looked like a good pitch, but did seem like it was on the slower side, not the typical Indore pitch. But, we're very excited because there were so many questions in terms of how this Indian middle order is going to shape up after Mohali and, the Shreyas Iyer form, Suryakumar Yadav, can he do it again? And just to sit there and watch everyone perform the way they did and bat the way they did with the dominance with which the Indian batters took on the Australian faster bowlers and spinners was terrific because at one point it actually felt like, there was a club side bowling to the Indian batters. That's how good the Indian batters, were batting in the center. So it was a terrific, just being ringside and watching it was terrific and heartening. To look at India play the way they're playing right now, so close to the World Cup.
Yes, that in fact sort of leads me to the next question. There were a few concerns going into this, which you addressed in this answer. But looking at the World Cup, this batting lineup, does this look good? I mean, of course, you have Virat and Rohit also who are going to be coming in. Looking good at this point for World Cup, Abhishek?
Well, it doesn't look good. It looks great because the way the Indian team shaping up, and we spoke about the questions of Shreyas Iyyar's fitness, Surya Kumar Yadav in ODI cricket, but they've answered all those questions and how. Surya Kumar Yadav going from strength to strength, and Shreyas Iyyar was sheer class. Just the way he came and approached the inning. KL Rahul taking his form forward, Shubman Gill doing what now he's recognized to doing consistently. Ishan Kishan playing that cameo just tells you you've got all boxes ticked with Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma both coming in with runs behind them. It sort of puts you in that conundrum. Who do you play in the third ODI? Because you've got all these guys who are scoring runs, all these guys who are in great nick. And the difference is when you see both sides bat on the same pitch, it tells you how exciting this team is because Australia looked absolutely different from the Indian batters. Yes, I know that's foreign conditions, but most of them have played the IPL. Most of them have played cricket in India and in these conditions. So I think it's a problem of plenty for India and things are looking good.
But the main question, I know a lot, and you were asked this as well yesterday, I'm going to follow that up as well. The Indian spin unit. We know how key they are in subcontinent conditions, Abhishek. A word on Ashwin first up. Has he firmly made a case to a possible World Cup inclusion?
Well, the question about Ashwin it's interesting because it's not about the skill. It's not about whether he can perform. It's not whether, we know he's a good bowler or not. He's a great bowler. The fact and the most important part here is how is he going to find a place? Because the initial squad that the Indian team announced was with Axar Patel in it. So the only way Ashwin gets a look in if suddenly the team management feels like, maybe it's not Axar. We need their off spinner. They're going to be left-handers. We saw, David Warner go from left to right, right to left, all because of Ravichandran Ashwin. So he has that knack. He has the ability to get players to think while he thinks a lot as well. So you are sort of in this conundrum right now and saying Axar Patel fit and raring to go. Does Ravichandran Ashwin still make the cut? Well, it's a very tough call for the Indian selectors, and they've got plenty of headaches already. One more added now. I honestly feel having an off-spin in the team is terrific, but that's almost like going back on the decision you've already made with Axar Patel. Because when the thought process of picking Axar Patel would have been made, you would have justified it saying that we don't necessarily need that off-spinner. We need a left-arm spinner as a backup to Ravindra Jadeja. So it's going to be interesting whether or not the Indian team management decides to go the other way, because in terms of how Ashwin has been bowling and how he bowled in the last game as well, I think there's no question whether or not he can do a job for you.
Yes, I'm going to put you on the spot towards the end when we wrap this up, but we also want you to give us your thoughts on Jaddu. He's always there, key to break partnership. He's been instrumental in India's Champions Trophy win as well. How critical is his contribution going to be at the World Cup?
He's this constant performer who goes under the radar. You're never really talking about a Ravindra Jadeja, but he's always performing for you with the bat, with the ball, playing cameos. He comes into bat at times when most people, you'll play 10 balls, 15 balls. He doesn't really get the opportunity to showcase what he can do like he did in the Tata IPL final. With the ball, very rarely do you see him go for a 10-60, 10-65. It's always 10-35, 10-40, 10-45. He's got 1-2, the odd 3 wickets. So he's a constant performer. So while he goes under the radar, he's critical for India because in those middle overs, while he tightens his screw on the batters, it gives the opportunity for the other bowlers to pick wickets as well. So Ravindra Jadeja in any conditions, not so much the Indian conditions, but more so in India, is critical to Indian, the India chances in this World Cup, because if he's firing like he's doing right now, it just becomes very difficult for the opposition to target one single bowler, because there's no one in that bowling lineup who you can easily target. So Ravindra Jadeja, I feel the way he's going, and the form he's shown, and the glimpses that we're trying to now see with his batting is great news for India.
Yeah, and you're talking about not able to target other bowlers. One of them, of course, would be Kuldeep Yadav. You know him very well. Abhishek, both of you are part of the KKR setup. Just a word on how you've seen him sort of come back, the new and improved version that's impressed you most about him, and a few observations that you would know, having known him from up close.
Yeah. Well, I think there's been a lot of talk of the technical changes that he's made in his bowling. He was someone who, it's slightly technical, but his angular run-up, he kind of changed it and straightened it up, which helped him get more momentum into his bowling delivery stride, which in turn, kind of has helped him get more speed on the ball. I feel it's been a revelation in terms of how this turnaround of Kuldeep Yadav has happened. He's obviously worked on it. He's understood that this was an area of his game that he had to get better at. And I feel when a cricketer decides to do that, and knowing Kuldeep and his work ethics, he's obviously worked towards that and become this bowler that the world now fears, because he is literally your wicket taker. He's been good enough to become your number one spinner in ODI and T20s, which tells you that he's grown leaps and bounds. And no matter where he's played, what conditions, it hasn't mattered in terms of how he's bowled. There used to be this thought process of Kuldeep Yadav being this bowler who gets wickets but goes for runs. But now he's changed that into a bowler who picks wickets and doesn't give runs as well. So he's economical and a wicket-taking option, which is why the Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja conundrum in terms of bowling together, and add an Ashwin to that, it gives you a absolutely three-dimensional bowling attack. So that's going to be interesting. With Kuldeep Yadav bowling the way he is India going to be thinking, Kuldeep and Jaddu are enough? Or we need an off spinner as well. And you imagine the trio on a pitch like last night, bowling together, bowling in tandem. It's going to be a nightmare for any opposition.
Well, that's what my last question is before we wrap this up, Abhishek. Is this your trio for the World Cup? The three that you mentioned right now. Is this your trio for the World Cup?
It would be very, very harsh on Axar. I would have actually, honestly, if I was asked this question, I would initially be very tempted for a Yuzvendra Chahal to be in the squad as my third spinner. But now that Yuzi obviously is not in the scheme of things or the thick of things, I believe you would need an off spinner. With a lot of teams having left-handers in the middle, you will need an off spinner who can bowl to right-handers, because we saw, Ash use the carom ball as well, the arm ball. So he has the ability to, literally go both ways with the ball. So I would be tempted, would be very, very harsh on Axar, to have him in the squad, and be very unfortunate. But I'm not the guy making the decision, so I can have my opinion. So from my point of view, I would want Ravichandran Ashwin with the value add of his bowling. Yes, the batting is there. I feel Axar is I wouldn't say a better batter, but I feel a more impactful batter in this format at that number. But if it had to be my way, I would tilt towards Ravichandran Ashwin.
Yes, you've been absolutely candid with that, Abhishek, as you were through the interview. Thank you so much for taking some time out. I know we've sort of cut into your sleep.
But no problem. Thank you, Rupha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek. In our Eyes on Eve segment, we talk about the Indian women who have scripted history. Now, what a moment to celebrate. After decades of India not featuring on these global multi-sport, multi-nation events, it was heartening to see two Indian cricket squads reach Hangzhou. India definitely started strong favourites, being the highest-ranked Asian team here at the Asian Games. Harmanpreet Kaur missing the quarterfinals and semi-final matches was something they hadn't planned. And Sri Lanka coming into the final after beating Pakistan was definitely going to be a challenge. They are a tough bunch, as they are proving to be. There is a shift in tide and momentum when we talk of this island nation. And they were going to be a handful. Some youngsters in there, but their bowling lineup is one full of experience, the oldest being 37 years old. They gave India a tough fight in the final, restricting the women to a modest 116. Of course, the pitch was not that easy to bat on, and the contest was intense. But Indian bowlers emerged victorious. Today, we thought of shining the light on some of the youngest members of the squad. So first up, Richa Ghosh. Now, she comes from a remote city, Siliguri in Darjeeling. That's right up in the north of India, a region known for its tea plantations more than sporting history. She's about to turn 20, but it did not take long for Richa to make her way into the cricket fold. She's an exciting wicketkeeper bat, absolutely electric behind the stumps and very sharp and busy with the bat. The perfect mix required in the lower middle order. She's also had support from her father in pursuing her dream. He was a club-level cricketer. Her father, in fact, encouraged her to take up pool, but there was no enthusiasm for women's cricket back then. Richa, though, did not take to any sport much like she did cricket. So her father enrolled her in the club he used to play for. She started playing when she was 4 years old and only played with the tennis ball initially, but seeing how fearless she was, her father decided to gift her a cricket kit. Soon the sports body in Siliguri started an academy for girls. Richa showed her mettle from the start. She started playing the tournaments organized by the academy since she was 9 and returned unbeaten every time she batted. She made it to the under-19 Bengal side when she was just 13 and went on to feature simultaneously in under-23 and the ODI side. The only player to be in all three formats when Bengal won the championship in 2018. Richa made it to the national side in 2020 at the T20 World Cup when she was just 16. And of course, she played that final as well. At 19, we have to meet the youngest cricketer to have played in a women's T20 international for India. At 15, she shot to fame through an exhibition match that she played in 2019. She did not score a lot, but just her powerful shot hitting got her noticed. Now, Shefali Verma, whom we're talking about, growing up in Rohtak in Haryana, Shefali did not have access to women's academies. The famous story that some of us know by now. She disguised herself as a boy to get trained and play cricket before being selected for the national side. She made her debut at 15 against South Africa in 2019. She also became the youngest half-centurion against West Indies. In her first ever series, she was player of the series. What a start. Her biggest moment of glory came when she was announced in India's T20 World Cup squad to lead the under-19 bunch of girls. And they came back with the trophy. Just ahead of that tournament, Shefali was in fact ranked as #1 batter in T20 cricket in the world. Now I've saved the best for the last. We've seen a wicketkeeper, a batter, now a bowler. Tita Sadhu, all of 19, was actually a sprinter, following in her father, Ranadeep Sadhu's footsteps, who was a state-level athlete. She switched to swimming and then table tennis, but slowly got drawn to take up cricket. And boy, did that take her places. At the under-19 World Cup final, Tita's returned with the figures of 2 for 6 to bag the Player of the Match award. All of 5'8", she is an exciting talent with the ball. She not only generates good pace, but gets the ball to swing and bounce too. She's also a natural big hitter, can hit the occasional long ones. There have been a few heartbreaks for this bunch at ICC events. This gold won't replace that, but the sheen is sure to be cherished for years to come. Now, staying with the Asian Games, the medal rush for India has truly begun. And as always, we here at Firstpost will keep you up to speed with all that's happening from the weekend right up till today. Here's a wrap of all the hits and some misses.
Let's begin with all that you need to know about India at the Asian Games. India has won a total of 10 medals so far. 1 gold, 3 silver and 6 bronze. India began its campaign well and also got its first gold earlier today. That was in shooting in the 10-meter air rifle men's team event. The Indian shooters also ended up smashing the world record that was previously set by China. The trio of Divyansh Panwar, Aishwari Pratap Singh Tomar and Rudraksh Patel stunned their competitors and got to the top spot at the podium. They achieved an aggregate score of 1,893.7 points. In total, India has bagged 5 medals across all categories in shooting: 1 gold, 1 silver and 3 bronze. Aishwari Pratap Singh Tomar also won bronze in the individual category. Shooters Ramita, Mehuli Ghosh and Ashi Choski grabbed a silver on Sunday in the 10-meter air rifle women's team event. Their aggregate score was 1,885 points. And 19-year-old Ramita took bronze in the individual 10-meter air rifle event. In rowing, India also sailed towards glory. Indian rowers have bagged a total of 5 medals. In the rowing lightweight men's double scull event, Arjun Lal Jatt and Arvind Singh secured a silver. The duo clocked a time of 6 minutes and 28.18 seconds in a spectacular display of skill and teamwork. The Indian contingent of rowers also claimed a second place spot in the men's coxed eights category. They finished with a timing of 5 minutes 43.1 seconds. Now on to some events where India missed out in securing a podium spot. The men's volleyball team ended their campaign in the quarter-final after an impressive start. They lost to Japan in straight games. Over at table tennis, the men's team suffered a 0-3 loss to South Korea and was knocked out in the quarter-finals. The women's table tennis team lost to Thailand 2-3 in the round of 16 clash.
The shooters have been the talk of the town. A new world record in the 10-meter air rifle is highly commendable for the trio of Rudransh, Aishwarya and Divyansh. But I want to focus a bit on the rowing boys. In fact, the sport itself has bettered their numbers. From 3 medals in 2018 to 5 here at Hangzhou, India has come out of the docks in full throttle. Particularly the men's 8, who won silver in the event for the first time since 2010. The team trained together for months away from home starting January and hardly visited their families. No matter what, all of them had their own sacrifices to make, whether it was not being able to see their mother at the hospital during her surgeries, not able to rush in time for the passing away of a sibling, missing family get-togethers, or even avoiding eating the food that they loved for months. They trained non-stop with just minutes rest in between cycles to get to this silver. The rowing boys, who hail from different villages in Punjab, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, trained together in Pune and became one tight-knit unit that understood each other well for that one dream and goal. Nitish Kumar, Puneet Kumar, Jaswinder Singh, Naresh Kalwania, Bhim Singh, Ashish, Dhananjay Pandey and Chiranjit Singh. We laud you and your achievement. So that about does it on the show today. But before we go, we leave you with something. We call it the last serve. Celebrating seems to be the mood everywhere. So too at the sidelines of football events. Bayern Munich players took some time off at the Oktoberfest. Take a look. That's what probably having a ball means, and quite a cool way to welcome their new member, Harry Kane, into the fold. Well, thank you so much for staying here and watching First Sports with us. That's about rounds it up here. Take care. Bye-bye.